Hey guys, this is Mark from Tribeca Beverage Company here. I wanted to show you briefly our experience with parking tickets within New York City. If your goal is to fight parking tickets or want to learn how to fight parking tickets, watch this video to the very end because we get thousands of dollars worth of tickets. And I want to show you exactly what we're getting tickets for and what exactly we're doing to fight the tickets to reduce the bill. Again, stick to the very end of the video and we can break everything down for you. Alright, so just to give you a little breakdown origin about all of these tickets that I'm holding here, almost all of them are in Manhattan. So New York City, particularly Manhattan, is the ticketer offender. If you look into great detail, we've got a no parking, we've got a bike lane, double parking midtown, double parking, failure to display parking meter receipt. Who knows if that's true. But at the end of the day, we really got a whole bunch of arguably, I would think, bullshit tickets. My guess is the reason why any of these tickets exist or why we get so many tickets is de Blasio wants to generate as much revenue for the city as possible. And while obviously discouraging illegal parking is probably something that would benefit residents and the people that live in the area, my guess is it went from what it feels like preventing illegal parking to really just flat out extortion. So us as a delivery company, we obviously have to get to our location. Particularly, we do a ton of deliveries in Manhattan, all over New York City, but particularly Manhattan. We have to get out of our vehicle, leave our vehicle vacant, and on occasion, unfortunately, it forces us into a situation similar to the United States Postal Service, as well as FEDEX, UPS, probably Amazon.com, and leave our vehicle in a situation unattended and possibly parked illegally for ideally a very short amount of time. New York City, to respond to that, are really particularly what they call the Department of Finance here, and I'll show you that right here. This is one of their notices. You look right here, New York City Department of Finance. That's who handles the tickets. It's a very nice name for an organization that really seems to generate a lot of revenue from ticketing people. Department of Finance is the team of people within New York City that manages all of the tickets that you get. And unfortunately, getting tickets, and we're relatively small in the grand scheme of things, but for some companies, is probably multiple tickets on a daily basis. I know FedEx and UPS, I think they have millions of dollars every single year in tickets. And since we've started, we probably ourselves, I would think, have contributed anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000, or probably closer to $40,000 around in New York City parking tickets since we've been delivering in New York City, which is obviously a ton of money, and it's part of the reason why the cost for New York City is high. On top of the tolls, the New York City parking tickets. For example, if we double park in Midtown, that right there is potentially a $115 ticket if they issue that ticket. These tickets, they all cost a ton of money when added together, even individually. But when added together, it's literally to the point where we've sent drivers out, have delivered over 100 bottles, and have lost money because we've been issued so many tickets in a day. Now, I know New York City in particular wants people to return back to New York, and I totally get it. I'm sure de Blasio and Cuomo really want that for its city, but it is such an expensive place to do business in, and we're really getting murdered. We're getting destroyed in parking tickets, and at the end of the day, it ends up getting passed down to the consumer. But particularly during the pandemic, when deliveries at an all-time high, you would think there'd be a little bit more leniency towards parking or deliveries, or because again, right, when we stop and deliver water, we're only leaving the vehicle, I'm sure similar to Amazon and the USPS, and although the United States Postal Service doesn't get ticketed, but FedEx and many other organizations only leave their vehicles potentially for a small amount of time. If they really want people to return to New York, why would they make doing business there so difficult, particularly from a delivery aspect during the middle of a pandemic? Well, whatever the case is, they do, and we adjust. And New York City knows how difficult that they're making business for it. So what's unique about this particular parking tickets that we get there, and I don't know of this in any other city, but we actually have an online dashboard because New York is so kind enough to kind of prepare it for us. We have an online dashboard that I'm going to show you in a second of how we can look and analyze it of all our tickets and see where they're coming from. What we're looking at the computer real quick is New York City sends us a weekly email letting us know the total amount due. If you see here, it's $2,380. That is what's outstanding, and they give you a nice, lovely attachment of the vehicles that you're driving. We'll have to zoom in for this real quick. The tickets, the time it's issued, the day it's entered into the system. One kind of probably interesting thing to notice out, because these two tickets do sometimes feel like a gigantic surprise, because it is hard to track every single one of them. They end up flying off the vehicle. It's probably one of the most frustrating things in the world. But I'm trying to find something here very quickly where they have an issue date, and then they'll issue maybe even over a month later. So 12/18 to 1/5, there's, I don't have, oh wait, here we go, here's a big one, 10/14 to 11/16, literally over a month. We weren't aware of it. This shows you the penalty amount, the fine, 115, 115, 100, and so forth, $50. I think those are the speeding tickets that New York has installed all over the city. If you go, I guess, 15 miles over the speed limit, I think it is. I'm not exactly sure. Overall, I just know that there is literally tons of them. So this is the weekly fleet program, or this is the fleet program activity, and it gives us a breakdown. Of how much money we owe New York City. Now, at one point we used to use what's called the stipulated fine program. Basically, the benefit of being part of the stipulated fine program is you lose your right to contest any ticket you get. So if you get a ticket that you don't deserve, and you know you don't deserve it, and they issued it incorrectly, you still have to pay that ticket. And this is okay. This is the ticket program. Now, when it comes to getting parking tickets in New York City, there is a ton of them that are available. The most common is the double parking. And the problem with the double parking is, unfortunately, during the daytime, when you have to go into commercial buildings, you're forced into situations where you're going to double park all the time. And somewhere on here is the double parking. So it would look, if you look here, right, you got double parking, 115, and then the fine, this is the reduced fine, the $35, 115 is what it normally costs. It would appear as if the stipulated fine program was actually a big break. But then you go one step lower, and you have double parking Midtown Commercial. And this is really where they kill you, because from what I understand, I think Midtown Commercial is all the way down to 14th Street up until 60th, which is often where there's a ton of traffic. You do get a little bit of a benefit with this in the financial district, but to go from 115 to 100 is literally, it is no benefit. If we only deliver 25, 35, 45 bucks worth of water, we've literally lost money. You've got some other normal benefits. You get a lot of no standing, the no standing in the bus lanes, there's very little forgiveness to no forgiveness at all. The no parking, some of them are actually pretty decent, but there is some decent ones, and there is a lot of crappy ones for many years at this point. However, at the end of the day, when you added up all the tickets, I think at our most we were paying over $2,000 a month of tickets, and it was literally, it's a gigantic expense. So and this is after the reduction, keep in mind, right? So maybe before that it could have been $2,500, but at the end of the day, the reduction wasn't that significant, and the tickets that we were getting was a lot of double parking Midtown Commercial, where the benefit is only like a $15 savings. So anyways, what we did is we switched to a website, and you see it on the screen here, parkingticket.com. This is not an endorsement of them per se, but we have been relatively, or we are excited to work with them, hoping that they'll do much better for us than the stipulated fine program. And what it is they send out what I believe ticket brokers to go to court and fight upon our behalf. Now, we haven't really seen many results yet, not because they won't do a good job, but only because a lot of the courts have been closed or severely backed up due to COVID. But you pay about $100 a month to join, and if you're getting a crazy amount of tickets, and I think that actually works if I'm looking here briefly, I guess from what I understand is I guess it might even work for, and I don't know if for sure positive, it might even work for individuals who get parking tickets. But if you're getting a lot of tickets in New York City, one, it's absolutely insane. It's ridiculous that New York City would put anybody in this position, particularly during the pandemic. Fortunately, we've kind of adjusted, and now it's just a cost of doing business. But for anybody who maybe, $100 ticket is a ton of money, and it really burns a hole in our pocket. I can only imagine what it does to other individuals. But what it seems like, there are organizations out there. I've spoken to others. We use parkingticket.com. And we fight the parking tickets. And really that's the goal. We pass all of the information out to them. They give us a little bit of a fact sheet on how to educate our drivers and what tickets particularly to avoid and what the courts are most looking for or what they're least forgiving with. Overall, though, the hope is just to reduce the amount of money that we're given in New York City. And to some degree, we'd rather pay service for that than participate in the stipulated fine program where they're literally giving us tickets that are totally unjustified. Unfortunately, it's our inability to understand the rules of New York City parking tickets, which again are very difficult to find. If you ever spend time researching, even when I showed you that other sheet of the Midtown commercial and everything else, I had no idea what I was reading, right? Whether we have trouble understanding or whether they're issuing false tickets, which we believe on time they have, at the end of the day, this system is broke. Sometimes it honestly feels like we're being extorted a bit, and really encourage, whether it's stipulated fine program or something else of that nature, you've got a lot of options to really kind of get past these parking tickets or at least reduce it. So far, we've been able to defer our payment because the pandemic has been going on, defer payment for some of these tickets or a good amount of these tickets. And hopefully when it gets to court, it ends up working out in our favor. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to learn more about our experience as a delivery company within Tribeca Beverage or water delivery or just our experience, feel free to watch our other videos. Comment below, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and check out our other videos about what it is and what it is exactly that we do.